Hi everyone, this is Dan, and this is an empty desk. It's more of a status video, I guess. So people who have been following comics probably have heard in the news. Diamond Distributor is basically it's basically the primary method of distribution for comic books to comic book stores, and they have pretty much announced that they're shutting down any new shipments and receiving any new comics for the foreseeable future, at least until this whole situation, pandemic, gets resolved. And in many ways, it's a big deal because it's probably, honestly, if not, the death blow, at least a mortal blow to the comic industry as we know it. Mainly because Diamond Distribution is pretty much the one that sends all the new comic books out to distributors, unless Marvel and DC or other comic book publishers are going to do direct ship to home service or just go 100% digital. That's pretty much the end for them. And I'm kind of mixed about it. I've said on many videos in the past, I don't have a very high opinion of new comics, and I don't hate on anyone who still reads new comics or still collects, especially if you're a collector. I get it, I'm not a collector. I'm really a reader, and that's really my preferences. So the quality of the contents of the book is more important to me than what's on the outside or just the number or whatever thing happened in the book, right? So I guess my rant here, and I guess let me put something on the screen here. Here's Ninja Turtles. Is that it's really tragic because it didn't have to be this way. The comic book industry didn't have to end up in this situation. And a lot of it is really its own fault. The quality of comic books has been going down consistently for many, many years. And I sound like a broken record saying this, but, in contrast to other people, expressing the same opinion, my views... and I guess I should explain my background. I didn't get started into comics till way later in my life, and I didn't necessarily grow up with them other than Archie comics, which I did grow up with. But I got into comics later, so when I was getting into it, there wasn't really a good jumping on point for me. When I picked up new comics of either X-Men or DC like Batman, they were super confusing because they never really explained what was going on in the story, and you had to buy multiple issues to figure out what was going on. So eventually I came to the conclusion that I didn't really want to start in modern comics. I wanted to get a little bit further in the past, and I ended up collecting omnibuses of just basically the great classic runs. And I remember the first omnibus I bought was Uncanny X-Men Volume 1, starting with Giant Size X-Men. Best purchase I ever made because it's what got me into the 80s X-Men and really to 80s Marvel and DC. And from that point forward, especially comparing the quality of those comics compared to the modern X-Men comics that I was finding at the comic book stores, it was like night and day. They were so much better in the 80s, it wasn't even funny. And they were better than the 90s too, because I did also collect 90s comics, the original Jim Lee X-Men, the adjectiveless X-Men, right? And those were pretty good in the beginning, and then they kind of went downhill real fast. And it's easy enough to get into 90s X-Men comics. They're pretty cheap for the most part, mainly because there's a lot of them, and also mainly because they're not really that good. But yeah, it's interesting for me to note the absolute, slow destruction or death of the comic book industry, especially in comparison to so many things going on right now. People are in their homes. They have, nothing that they can do right now. This is like the perfect time to have a big comic book collection and go through it. And when you look at the modern product, it's so bad that people don't even want to do that. People would literally rather rewatch Archer on Netflix or something than go through, or collect comic books. They're just not desirable anymore. And who's to blame? I mean, like, look at this stuff. This was an indie title in the 80s, and it freaking sold like hotcakes. Here, I'm just going to go through it right now. Yeah, remember New Mutants? Yeah. Remember this amazing stuff? Look at this art and the amazing storytelling of the Demon Bear saga. You don't have this anymore. The current New Mutants is fucking terrible with Ed Brisson. Holy crap. Remember this? Yeah, New Teen Titans. Remember when the Teen Titans weren't a Cartoon Network joke? You know, for freaking, I guess, mentally disabled kids? And they were actual, like, real drama, real emotion, people going through real situations? Man. Remember when crossover events used to be really crazy? Yeah. Yeah, no, DC Comics remembers, or actually, no, they don't, because their current crossovers suck. Yeah, remember this one? Again, the 80s. Like, don't have anything like that. Or remember when crossovers were well thought out and well planned? Like this one? Yeah. Remember the original Secret Wars? Yeah, the creation of the symbiote? Yeah? Remember that one? Sorry to pull out the member berries, but it's not even a case of American comics too. Remember when Judge Dredd used to have some freaking amazing stories? Remember Judge Death? Yeah. Freaking Brian Boland just freaking rocking it hard on Judge Dredd. Remember that stuff? Yeah, the Brits had some amazing stuff too. Yeah, and it ain't the British either. Remember the French? Remember Blueberry when Mobius was still alive? And freaking making these amazing European albums? Look at this stuff. This right here, it reads like the good, the bad, and the ugly, dude. It's like spaghetti western injected onto pages. It's fucking beautiful. Yeah. Actually, better yet, I got some stuff right here. Oh, I'm gonna go grab this. Dude, remember when John Byrne and Chris Claremont worked on stuff together? Remember this one, In Search of Mutant X? Fucking John Byrne on Uncanny X-Men. What a story, right? Yeah, remember Alpha Flight? Number 3? I actually really love this story in Alpha Flight number 3. It's pretty freaking sweet. Oh, remember the second Secret Wars? Holy crap. It's pretty awesome. I'm going to grab this box right here. This is like fun now. Oh, dude. Remember this series? This is Chris Claremont starting on Excalibur. It's a great one, going to basically the British X-Men, right? I remember Uncanny X-Men 179 or 176. Maybe Uncanny X-Men 182. Or how about Uncanny X-Men 199? Yeah, by the way, all of these sold 6 figures. All of them. I don't even know. Some of them might have been like, you know, double-digit 6 figures. You know, 200, 300 a pop. Yeah, exactly, right? Remember those issues? Hell, I mean, not to hate on, you know, 90s comics too much. The 90s had a couple of great sellers too. Yeah, this one was actually a pretty good issue of X-Men. Most of the X-Men issues, the adjectiveless X-Men are not that great, but this one was pretty good. Oh, man. Sorry, I'm kind of like enjoying going through all these covers right here. Oh my god. Oh, this is Mark Silvestri. Hell yeah. Sorry, I gotta grab this one out of here because it's like totally worth grabbing. Oh, sorry for the dead air. I'm almost done. Ah, sorry about that. I had to pull this one out because this one is fucking iconic. Remember this stuff? Also 6-figure seller, right? Yeah. You know, and how did they do it back in those days? Did they do it with like a million variant covers? Because there's only one cover for Uncanny X-Men 227. Also a very badass cover. But that's it, right? All it was quality product. Everyone wanted this, not because they wanted to collect it, because they wanted to read the story of the Uncanny X-Men. Both the art and the writing, you know? And when you look at today's comics, like, what do I have to look forward to with Jonathan Hickman? Like, honestly, what do you have to look forward to? The X-Men are racist, segregationist drug dealers. What? Why do I want to read about that? Like, no, seriously, why does a regular, normal person want to read about that? They don't want to read about that. They want to read about heroes. They want to read about people overcoming, horrible, odds and great challenges, like Storm did in this arc. No powers to powers. Great freaking story right there. But just freaking plants, drugs. That's what I want to read about. God. Anyhow, sorry for the incoherent rant. Just need to get my thoughts out there. I'm just looking at the comic book industry and kind of it's just sad right now. There's an article out. Where are you? I don't have it. By Comicron, and it's hilarious because it's trying to explain away why. What is it? I got you right here, don't I? Yeah, I do. Here we go. Yeah. Why this book supposedly is still the highest selling book or graphic media of all time, despite the fact that this has sold about 1.2 million copies. And this guy right here, just volume 1, it's not even this whole thing, like a quarter of this has sold like tens of millions of copies. And it is the most, bullshit article I've ever read. This costs more than this, and it still sold more than this. Stop. Just freaking stop, okay? Like, that is how irrelevant comics are nowadays. So we're busy writing BS articles about how the Japanese aren't completely annihilating us right now. Apparently in both comics and cars. Jesus Christ. But, yeah. Jim Lee, you had better days, man. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I don't know what to say. Rest in peace, comics. I guess we can look forward to indie comics. I mean, Image seems to be doing better. Comicsgate, they just keep growing. They just keep growing and growing. I mean, each campaign keeps doing better than the next one. And I think it's only a matter of time before they start getting momentum in advertising, and they're just gonna grow even bigger than that. And who can argue with it, right? You're taking investment money from people who want whatever it is you're trying to sell to them. So you're getting money ahead of time to make this comic. The excess can going to make it a better, higher quality comic, and it gets mailed directly to your house with a bunch of goodies. It's pretty exciting, right? A lot more exciting than going into a comic shop and looking at a bunch of covers for books you don't want to read, huh? Alrighty, anyhow, that's the video. If you liked it, please hit the like button, the thumbs up to like it. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. If you got any comments about this video or the freaking flush of comics I just went through, leave it down below, and I will see you next time.